Welcome back, everybody. This is the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario of the game Unconditional Surrender, published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. We are getting ready to enter the November 1941 turn, and we will begin with the weather phase. If I can get the weather track up, and my player aid card, and I'm on the wrong page, of course. Excuse me. So, with the new weather rules, just as a reminder, we cannot have the same weather that we had in the previous month in November. That applies to April, June, and November. Cannot be the same as their previous month. So for the cold zone, I can't. 2 through 4 will be re-rolled. Just so you know what I'm doing here. So for the cold zone, the die roll is a 5. Well, that makes it severe right here. In the mild zone, we cannot have a 5 or a 6. It has to be something else. The mild zone is a 1, so it's going to be fair in the mild zone. And in the warm zone, it cannot be poor, so it's either going to be clear or severe. And we roll a 3, which is poor, so we have to re-roll it. And we roll a 1, so we get fair weather in the warm zone. So fair weather in most of the map, except for inside Russia, where it is severe. The Russian winter seems to have come early. It's come so early it will actually affect the Russians as well. So that's the weather phase. Axis is not going to declare war, and neither are the other two because they're not set up to take out any minors. Economy phases, just a quick look. Britain is up to 16, and so is the USSR due to their Urals factories and the British factory loss marker having gone down one last turn. All the counters are set correctly. Knowing that it's severe, the Germans are going to go ahead and give one to the Italians because it's fair in the Med. They might need it for rebuilding their fleets and things. I don't see a reason to give... I really don't see a reason to give anybody else one. I don't think I'm going to need anything else from anybody. So it goes into strategic warfare. The Russians are rolled first. They are +2. The Germans are +1. Checking the faction cards, the Russians don't have anything, and neither do the Germans. And for that matter, when we get to the West, they don't have one either. So these will just be die rolls with the modified pluses. The Germans are +1. 4 + 1 is a 5. The Russians are +2. 4 + 2 is a 6. 5 to a 6 is a diamond. If you look, both the Germans and the Russians are at as low as they can go, so that doesn't affect them. The West is at 0, and the Germans are at +3. So Germans rolled a 6 + 3 is a 9. Can't roll any worse. And the British straight die roll is a 4. And a 9 to a 4, it wouldn't matter what the British rolled. It would have been a lose a factory result in the strategic warfare. So their factory loss marker goes back up to 6. And the Germans, of course, can't go any lower than 1. So keeps the German production up. That's a good thing for now. Once the U.S. gets in, this is going to change a bit. Strategic movement for the Germans, if I remember right, I have the marker on here, so you take that off of there and put it on the card. And now I need to think about, well, the Africa Corps extricated itself, so I think I'm going to strategically move this 4th infantry. Where's my marker? I think I'm going to go ahead and move him back to the east to face the... Where'd he go? I lost him. There he is. We're going to go... I'm not taking the unit with me. There we go. And we're going to move probably right into let's see, I'm going to move that infantry to plug that hole. And he can move south as well. Just trying to figure out where's the best place to drop this strategically moving infantry unit, and it looks like it might be to go ahead and drop him here. Yeah, I think we're going to drop him just southeast of Smolensk. Yep, that's where we're going to go. The western would be in the Middle East if it's anywhere. I've got my 9th Army garrisoning Alexandria behind a river and in rough terrain, so it's -2 to attack it. I'm not really ready to go on any adventure, so nothing for the West. The Soviets, let's see, the marker's here, so we got to get that off the card, off this dude. Put it on the card. Do I have anything that's can be moved to make a difference on German? It's severe weather, so the best the Germans are going to be able to get is a DR. That's based on the Germans are always +2 just because they're Germans. There's no armor bonuses. The airplanes can't help us. So it's just basically a +2 for the Germans. If they assault, they could be like a +4, and then maybe a -1 for terrain or something. So when they do the assault, the best they're going to be is probably a +3. If they make a wholehearted assault. At +3, the best they can get is having everything a 9, 4.5. 4.5 is a 5, and if you look at the combat results table, best thing you can do on a 5 is to retreat the other guy. The Russians will be halved in this November turn because the antifreeze hasn't showed up for their armies, so they will have that as an issue. I don't see the Germans actually doing much in the way of offensive action here. It just doesn't look like it's worthwhile. But I don't see anything for the Russians. Excuse me. I want to move those guys. I just don't see it. Well, I'm kind of low on production points, so why don't I go ahead and do this? It's a silly short strategic move, but it saves me a production point. Basically, I'm going to move the guy that's in Moscow a couple hexes forward by strategic movement to sit in the forest in front of Moscow. I think I have. Yeah, I've got like 4 units to build and an airplane. The British have a bunch of stuff to build. So I don't see a lot of operations going on. The Germans are kind of stymied with that halving. I mean, I might try and do a half-hearted attempt at Bryansk because I'll just be straightening up the line anyway. Other than that, I really don't see anything for the Germans to do here. Okay, that's strategic movement. We're into Germans operations phase. And like I said, I'm looking around here. I don't see a lot to do in the east. It's fair down in the Middle East in the desert. It's always fair, and it's fair in the Mediterranean. I guess with the Italians, I'm going to have to abandon supporting the Africa army here. with it being fair weather and the let's check the. If I remember right. So they can't affect me this turn. So that would be next turn. So I actually have a turn, but I can't really supply. Well, you see, my quandary here with the Italians is that I'm down to basically being able to supply 3 units maximum. So I have 1 sortie on this convoy in Benghazi and 2 in Tripoli. And the 2 that I definitely want to supply are the Italian 10th and the Africa Army. That could mean that I would end up losing one of my garrisons if I have to keep the airplane in supply too. So the Italians are going to abandon the North Africa for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They can get all the way to 5430 for a sortie. And then from there they can fly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up into the boot. Ultimately, they wanted to end up in Naples. Is there a way to get there? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, that's about as far as I can get. So, and that's a 6th sortie. So they have to do that. They're going to go ahead and. Jeez. Yeah, he can get to Tobruk now, so I have to go. Maybe I'll leave the garrison there. Move the 10th into Tobruk. Yeah, if I have to lose a garrison, I'll lose that one. So 1, 2. The Italians will activate for 1. Yay! They move into Tobruk and go into the fort. So put them in the fort. Oh, there we go. The Germans will spend 2 and back the Africa Corps up 1 space. That prevents them from getting an isolation on me in any way, because even if they were to kill this 4th garrison with the BEF and get in no enemy zone of control, and then they could move to 5540, but because I'm up here by the road, I can actually trace on out for supply, and I have a retreat route, so I'm not isolated, so he can't get that same kind of stuff he was doing before. I still have to roll halfway decent, but I don't have to roll phenomenal. And then I've got to try and redress the Italian supply situation. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I may just have to let that one die to get back my supply. We'll see. See how things go against the British Navy. It's fair, so they're going to be great odds against me, kind of thing. In the east, do I have to make sure I'm not leaving anything open for the Russians? You can take that hex. I probably should have put him down here. Okay, I'm going to activate the 8th. He'll go 1, 2, raw. Actually, the Panzer could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's undo that. Let's think about this. He can go 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's +2 either way, so it doesn't matter. I don't know what I'm thinking. The Panzer's more important here. It isn't. I'm not paying attention to the weather. It's severe. I can't get any extra bonuses. So 1, 2, yeah, let's plug up the line here a bit. The Hungarians will activate to move and garrison where the airplane sits, so at least he has to attack it to get me. So the Hungarians activated, and I spent another point to the Germans, catch up on my one for the Germans, and the Hungarians have spent their point for the turn. The Romanians are actually in a pretty good place at the moment. A little light in the south, but maybe I can redress that next turn, depending on what he does up here in the north. Kind of worried about this 3-hex attack on the German Panzer. It'll be a +2 to a +2, and we're halved. He might get a retreat, which could be bad. I'm going to activate and when this guy ended, where are they? Yes, assault. And we'll activate the 16th. He'll do an assault. I'm going to need one of these in just a minute here, because then I'm going to activate the 14th. That was a pretty bad move, you know that? 1, 2 for the river, 3, 4 for the hex, and then 1, 2, 3. Actually, I can't use that guy for that. I have to use the second. It has to go here. I'm letting him get close to Smolensk. And then this guy's going to actually move up to here. So that's 2 more activations. This guy's going to do an assault. The reason why I had to do that, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it costs 2 for the city, 2 for the unit because of poor weather, and 1 for the river, I needed 5 movement points. If I spent 4 to get to that hex, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I had to use the guy that was in 2248. He'll only spend 2 to get there, so we have 6 left, so he can, because of the river, he'll have to spend 5. The others had to spend 4, so they had enough to do it. Just hoping to get a DR here because, I'll end up at being like at net +1, DLC +2, maybe. I don't know. I'll figure it out in a second. I want to make sure I catch up with my production points. I think I just spent 2. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4 on this front. And then I spent 2 down in the south. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I should have spent. I should be at 21, not 22. Forgot to take off 2 for the Africa Army. I keep forgetting it's mobile. So I have 21 left. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of other movement here. Oh, I'll probably move this guy into there. Just don't want to give him the easy assault routes. Yeah, we'll move this guy into there. And that leaves me with 20 for the Germans. Oh. Then we'll see if there's anything else I need to do with the Germans, maybe in the west. Let's go ahead and do this assault. First off, we start off, the Germans are +2 because they're Germans, and the Russians are 0 because they're Russians. And then I have 2. The primary guy is whoever this is in 24 or 46. 16th. He's the primary assault, so he's 2. And then he gets +1 for each of the other assault guys, so he's up to 4. Now we are attacking a city, so that's -1. And then we will have the die rolls. So it's Germans +3 and then halved, and then the Russians, whatever they roll, plus and halved. We can't throw in any airplanes. We can't throw in any tanks. None of that works in severe weather. So we're just kind of stuck here. So the Germans roll a 3 + 3 is a 6. Halved makes it a net of 3. Net of 3 for the Germans, and the Russians rolled a 5. Halved is 2.5. Round up is a 3. Nothing happens. So much ado about nothing. I'll put these assault markers over here because Russians probably want to use them. maybe? Don't know. I'm not going to try and do anything else at this point. I'm going to probably try and shift the German line down here in the bad weather when I'm facing the Russian winter. This Bryansk thing is a problem. I do see them making one attempt here to try and reduce him down a step, make me spend a replacement point to bring him up. So, but I'm not. It's like I'm not like I'm hurting for replacement points. The British aren't set up to invade me in the west, so I'm okay there. And I did my German thing and the Italian thing down here, so I am done. I have to do supply. The only up here, I'm not going to supply the airplane this turn. I just don't. I'm wasting sorties for no good reason. So there we go. Oh, I put it on the Swedes too. No, just the airplane. Okay, that takes care of that nonsense. The rest of the stuff in the east is in supply or low supply for the Nor unit in Finland. Nobody's surrounded. We'll double check. Nobody's not adjacent or on a rail line for the Germans anywhere. So yeah, we're in supply. So the only place we have to run supply is down here. And knowing that I'm going to go ahead and try and get the British fleet to commit, I'm going to run sortie here for this garrison unit. Or am I? Do I just wait? I think I just wait. Just let him die. I can rebuild him and move him back into Benghazi. Because then it'd be a 4 and 4. Yeah, let's try it. We're running supply for the 4th garrison. Now the British have to think about this. If they if they did intercept, they'd be at minus. The Italians are at -3, and the British normally start at +2 and then -3 for their sorties, so they'd be at -1. So -1 means the best they can get. Oh, not that one. Combat result table, thank you. -1, they're going to get a 5, a 4, or a 3, and at -3, the best the Italians can get is a 3. So if I roll a 6, I got him. If I roll a 5, I more than likely got him. If I roll a 4, you're probably still going to get him. And if I roll a 3, it's a 50-50 chance that the supply gets through. Yeah, let's go for it. I was aggressive in the desert. I should be aggressive all the way around, right? So the British roll a 2 -1. So they'll take a sortie. It won't matter what the 2 -1 is a 1. I guess if the Italians roll a 6, it could matter. They rolled a 1. So the Italians take a sortie. The British take a sortie. And then the thingy here has to take a sortie because the supply was successful. And the low supply marker comes off. So the 4th is in supply. Yay. I've managed to do it again. Pulled off supply again. And then the other place that I just can't be intercepted at the moment, so I'm just going to do the 2 supply here. Look, the other way. 5, 6. That's for the 10th Army that's in Tobruk and the 4th garrison, the Africa Army. So supply is done. German operations phase is done. I'm going to take a quick check on the time. I might be able to cram in the West and the Soviets because they're not going to do a lot. So, I'm going to take a quick break here before I start up the Western and see what my time is. Be back in a minute. Okay, I'm like at 24 minutes, so I'm going to try and cram in the whole turn in this thing. I might end up chopping it if I don't. The British don't have a lot to do. I mean, they could come out here and bang on this. I don't see a reason to. I'd like to save my production points to try and clear up as much as I can sortie-wise, since I'm ahead. His airplane is gone. If I can get ahead of him with my fleets, I stand a good chance of really screwing him up with supply when I really want to come after him. And I also have a plane and the Western Desert Forest, which is 5 production points by itself, to try and bring in. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to do my supply. I'm done. I have to supply 3 units, so I go 1 here, and then I go 2 here. So lots of things at 4 sorties down here. That's all I have to do for the British, and they're done. The Soviets don't really have a lot to do. They do have 1 attack just to try and make life miserable for the Germans. Plus, I want to be able to put a shock army in reserve, so I'm going to activate this army. And he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and grab an assault marker, call an assault there, and then I'm going to spend 2 more for the guy in Bryansk and the guy in 2350. They will all call for an assault on the second. I'll go spend my points here in a second. And go to the national thing. That's 3 production points. I have 4 and 3 in the bucket, so that's 7. And then the 2 shock armies to make them full strength is 8 and 9. And then if I want to up these 2 airplanes, that would be another 6. That would be 15. So I can't do all of that. But I think I want to do a lot of it. 7, 8, 9. And I can get 1 of these airplanes up. Or maybe I won't build the new airplane and I'll get both of these airplanes up. Something like that. Let's see how my assault goes here. So the Russians start off at 0. The guy that just moved out of Rezhev, how do you pronounce that? How do you pronounce RZ, people? So he's the primary, this guy here. So that I don't have any minuses for rivers and stuff. And then he gets +1 for each of the guys helping him. So we're at +2. And the Germans, being Germans, are +2. And then they're in rough terrain, so it's only a +1. It's a +1 to a +2, but if I get a retreat, he loses a step, which costs him a production point. I'm not too worried because it's going to be severe for him for the next 3 turns as against the Germans, and I will be at poor, which means my airplanes will count, his airplanes won't. So we do have that going for us. The Russian winter is coming. And so the Russians roll. Hey, a 6 + 1 is a 7. That's a good die roll. But it's halved, so it's 3.5, rounded up to 4. So it's a net of 4. The Germans rolled a 1, which is a +2, so that's a 3, halved to 1.5, rounds up to a 2. So you've got a 4 to a 2, and if I remember my combat results table right, yes, a 4 to a 2 is a DR. And because I did my strategic move, shouldn't have put him there, I should have put him in 2148, I end up having to lose a step for the Germans. So the Russian assault was kind of successful. We're going to cost the Germans an extra production point in the replacements phase. Aha! So there. Take that, Germans. I have 7 sitting in... Well, there's 4 sitting there, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Maybe if I don't build an infantry unit, I can bring in an airplane, clear an airplane. Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to do the same thing to this second Panzer here, because it'll be +2 to +2. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend 3, and I'm going to activate these 3 units. the 30th, the 18th, and the 37th for 3 production points. Every one of them is going to be calling for an assault in their move. They're not actually moving anywhere. They're just, attacking the 3rd Panzer here. The 3rd Panzer starts off at +2, and then the Russians have the guy in the middle. This one. This guy here. The 16th, I think he is. He's going to do the attack. Let's zoom in. Get in as far as we can. So, yes, it's the 16th is attacking as the primary. He gets +1 for each of his buddies. So he's at +2. There's no rough terrain or anything, so we're at +2. The Germans are at +2. And we just roll the dice. The Russians roll. They made up for that 6 they rolled up in the north, huh? They rolled a 1, +2 is 3, halved is 1.5, rounds up to a 2. They cannot hurt the Germans. The Germans, the best that they can get is a 4, because they could get a 6 + 2 is an 8, which is a 4. If you look at the combat results table, a 2 to a 4 is just an attacker stop. It's an assault anyway, so I'm not even going to bother to roll the die roll. It's over. One of the things I've gotten used to is what these, when you get into those kinds of situations, especially in severe weather, it tends not to matter much. So that's the Russians. They have everybody in supply, right? They want to save their production points to bring out a couple more shock armies, build these 2 shock armies that are out here up. They can bring a shock army in Reserve and in Moscow, and a regular infantry maybe down in Stalingrad or something. Want to be able to try and bring on as much as I can for the Russian winter, so see if I can make a difference and take back some hexes. That's the Russians' operations phase. There is nobody with a no supply marker on them. Replacements phase for the Axis. And here's a surprise. The Axis replace nothing, or the Germans replace nothing. Guess what they're going to do in the build phase? The Italians have 12 left, because they moved 1 guy. So they got to take down the 2 convoys this time. So that's 6. And normally you would say, take the airplane, but they're actually going to have to say no to the airplane and take down this fleet, because they have to have a chance to try and pull a supply out of Benghazi from time to time. So they're going to do 4 there. They still have 2 left, but I don't think they have anything. There's nothing in the production thing for them to build, and I don't think I have any units flipped anywhere anymore, because that's a garrison unit, right? Yep, he's a garrison. Things don't go where I want them to. I'm pretty sure this is a garrison. Yeah, those are garrisons, and they're all the other 3 garrisons are in North Africa. So yeah, there's no. I hate to not be able to do the airplane, but kind of have to do it this way. That's the way I'm going to do it. The Axis is done. The Western has a ton. Things to do here. I guess I'll put them on right here. They didn't spend anything, so they can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It'd be down to 7. And they got to save 5 for the other, so they're kind of stuck. But I really want to get the planes and the 2 things here. That's 9. So that leaves me with 7, and I have 5 to build. I guess I could hold off on the airplane and build Western Desert Force. That would leave me 1, 2, 3, 4. And I could either clear this fleet or I could clear out the Malta fleet and move it next turn. I think I'm going to go do that. We're going to save the second air for a later date. We're going to go ahead and clear out Force H for 5, and that leaves me 2 production for mobilization. We're on to the Russian replacements. They have some. Definitely going to do at least 2 for this guy and this guy. I want to get my shock armies up to full strength. Where's my production? So that's 2. That leaves me with 8. On the faction card, we had we basically have 7, but I really want to try and replace some airplanes out here. 3, 6, and I could build the 2 shock armies and hold off on the others. Dilemma, you know. You know something? The Germans did not spend any on replacements, so my 4s are just as good as his 4s. So if I hold off and I build all 7 here, I'll have 3 airplanes with 4, he'll have 3 airplanes with 4, and I'll have all my infantry on the board. I'm not going to spend any more, because he didn't replace his airplanes down to try and screw with me. Even though it'll be severe weather, the Germans can still add sorties to my planes to make them less effective. He didn't do that, so I'm going to hold off. I'm going to build myself out when we come to mobilization. So there are no upgrades. The Axis on the national tracks, the Germans have exactly 20 left, so they go 10 and 20 and say, give me it back. They want their surprise attack marker to come back. And so 4 turns from now, they will get it. It's November, so 1, 2, 3, 4. In March, they will have their surprise attack marker back. It could be important for the summer months of June 42, because there's going to be a lot of Russians. Sometimes that +1 in a concentrated area can make a breakthrough, say, like at Ural, Kursk, or Bryansk, you know, that whole kind of triangle-y area. It could end up helping me capture like all 3 cities come spring, assuming I'm still in a position to do that, because I'm going to be suffering from some nasty weather rules here in a minute. But at least that's now out of the way, so I can now spend my production on like clearing sorties and things like that. So, and the Italians, there should already be down to 2. They don't really have anything they can build, so they're done. Axis is done. On to the West. The West has 2 left. They're going to build the Western Desert Force. Now here's my quandary. The Germans really aren't set up to do a real good sea line, so I'm going to actually put the Western Desert Force in the West Africa box, because you're allowed to mobilize 1 unit per turn, either in the Western Indian Ocean or in the East North America box, and it seems like the place to put the Western Desert Force is here. Because I still have this convoy sitting here, this convoy could run that thing back to England if I needed to, if I suddenly a sea line appears here in the winter. I don't think I'm going to see that from the Germans. Just knowing how I play the Germans, I don't see that being useful anymore. I have to prepare for the onslaught from everybody. So that's the Western phase. They used all their production points. Then we go to the Soviets, and they're going to build themselves out too. So we're going to come up here to Russia and find places to put units. Where's my faction card? I do need the card there. So I have an airplane is 3 with 4 sorties, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry. So that's 7. So I'm just going to spend it so I can get this card out of the way. And then placing of units, we're going to go ahead and throw a shock army in Moscow. in the fort. We're going to put another shock army in reserve. We're going to put an infantry unit in Ryazan, I guess. And the last infantry unit, since I'm running out of cities at the front, I have to go on Stalingrad. And in the airplane, I've got two kind of in the south. I think I need one more towards the north. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it in Kalinin or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't really help this river line up here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and risk it, put it in whatever that city is. Bologoya. I get a sortie 4. Ta-da. Okay, well, that's the rest of the Soviet mobilization. There is no diplomacy because we're all at war. We ain't talking. They haven't conquered Germany yet, so the war isn't over. And we go to the end of turn phase. Bring up the faction card down here in the corner. Bring up the turn track. Move it over a little bit. So we try and get to the cards. We're going into December, so the Germans are kind of happy. They get some ground support. The lovely thing about ground support for the Finns and the Romanians and Hungarians is that it counts in the winter because it doesn't count as a tank. The U.S. is officially in the war. Oh no. Let's do the Soviets first. First things first. They get a partisans marker. Yay. Now they can affect strategic warfare come next turn. The Russian winter marker will go on the turn track. Not the turn track, but the weather track, which will pop up here. And that goes... Oh, it won't work. It goes in to here. So for the Soviets, it's poor. For everybody else in the north, it's severe in December. No die rolls. That'll be true for January and February as well. The Russians get a third tanks marker. Cool. It's like they almost have armored armies. And then they get 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry units that go into their mobilization. So that's cool for them as well. They also get a Lend-Lease. That's cool as well. So one Lend-Lease marker has to go 6 turns ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into June. And then they get to take... I'm just going to set it here on the card for the moment, just so I can get all this other stuff out. As a matter of fact, I think I'm just going to take this whole stack, put it on the card, move this, come on, stack, move, dang thing, and put the turn marker here in December, and then get rid of that so I can bring up things like national tracks and stuff. Because the Russians got a Lend-Lease here, so that goes in the 1 box. What the heck is the British one? I'm missing a British Lend-Lease. Huh, what did I do with it? I've lost it somewhere. I think I might have deleted it somewhere along the line. Or I put it in the wrong space. Well, they should have had one in... They got one in... When did they go down? In 1940, August? I think I took them out in July or August. It was August. I will have to go back and find out where the British Lend-Lease marker disappeared to. I think the British are due another factory in here that I've missed someplace. So I will fix that offline. Don't worry about it. Oh, there it is. It's right there in front of my face. Duh! So they were do this here. They get another Lend-Lease. In December. I need to put this back on the turn track 6 turns ahead. Sorry, I gotta catch back up with myself. So this actually goes where the Russian one is. I'm going to double check that. I think I might have my turns off on the British. The Americans put a tanks marker in here. We go up to the northeast. And then their fleet and their convoy just come in there. No sorties on them. If you look in the playbook, that's what it says. Normally, you're supposed to flip this over, and it's the variant, vary size. I don't need to do that. I have them all in the right place based on them coming in December of 41. So, faction cards are correct, I believe, that we are done. I might make some corrections if I've messed up something. Like I said, I'm not sure about when I actually conquered the French, and it should have been like 12 turns after that as Lend-Lease starts. I don't remember conquering them in June. I thought I conquered them in July. So I just need to double check my British Lend-Lease. I might have it off by a turn. So if I do, I will correct it offline. Anyway, that's the end of November 1941. We will start up next time with the Russian winter, the December of 1941 turn, which will be Russian winter for 3 turns in the cold zone. It will be an experience, but the Russians don't have a lot of production points, so their major offensive that everybody thinks happens will not, especially since the Germans will have a chance to redress their lines. So this has been Dren 608. This is the Me, Myself, and I playthrough of the main event. That was November 1941. Thank you for watching my videos. If you would, please leave comments. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. And if you like what you see, please subscribe so you don't miss any episodes going forward. Thank you, and bye-bye.